Okay, so I wanted to start a channel talking about animation, about cartoons, about language learning through cartoons for a variety of ages, but for people who want to learn languages and how cartoons can be useful. And I wanted to start out with one of my very dear animations when I was younger. Следствие, ведут Колобки, or investigation held by Kolobki. Kolobki are investigating. Translations can be iffy, but that's the general gist. And the creator, the animator for this animation was Alexander Tatarsky. He was originally from Kiev, which was at that time was this part of the Soviet Union, Kiev, Ukraine. And he was a phenomenal animator and created a lot of different animations that a lot of people consider as part of their childhood, such as Пластилиновая ворона, or Plasticine Crow, which is like Play-Doh crow.
Послушайте, ворона, а может быть собака, а может быть корова, но тоже хороша.
As well as Падал, прошлогодний снег, or Last Year's Snow Was Falling. I guess the translations are kind of strange again, but that's just how it is.
Скажем, повстречались как-то две милых таких, симпатичных. Ой, и этих унесло.
He then also founded the Moscow animation studio, which called Studio Pilot, which is where this animation that I want to share with you was made. In that same studio, he created another series called Гора самоцветов, or Mountain of Gems.
По вечерам у костра рассказывают замечательные старинные сказки. Каждая из них как драгоценный камень-самоцвет.
Short 10-minute-ish animations produced based on fairy tales of Russian people or other ethnic groups within the Russian Federation or former Soviet states.
Слушай, пусти, птица поганая! Ай, держите меня!
In the beginning, they would tell you a little about where they live, a little bit about their history, about their culture.
К Каспийскому морю находится республика Дагестан. Здесь живет больше 40 разных народов. И среди них аварцы, лезгины, даргинцы. Даргинцы делают самые лучшие сабли и кинжалы, украшенные серебром и золотом.
All of his animations were very close to heart. So let me talk about this particular one and why I think it's really great for learning Russian, whatever level you may be at, depending on how much you're willing to watch without fully understanding everything. And just for people who like animation, just to share with you this other animation that I think most people have never heard of. The general story is about these two characters. They're brothers. Their names are Братья Пилот, brother pilot, based on the studio where they're made. They're tasked with finding this stolen elephant. And so there's what I guess would be the older brother. He's like the Sherlock Holmesy character, and there's like the Watson-y character. And over the course of a few episodes, but the episodes are like 5-minute episodes, they find out what happened. Let me show you just like the opening sequence of what happens, the crime being conducted.
Ничего не понимаю.
And now that you've seen that, you can kind of see where I'm coming from. I quite like this animation. And let me give you 4 reasons why I think it's quite great for learning Russian, if that is what you want to do. So the first reason is that it's very visually self-explanatory what's happening, even if you don't understand everything. That's kind of the greatness of cartoons and animation, I find. They kind of tell you they show you what will happen without you necessarily having to understand everything, because it's made usually for kids, but it's great for understanding and learning things as well. For example, when there's thunder and lightning, he says
Гром и молния.
Grom и молния, which is like thunder and lightning. Like, you get it. You see it and you understand. When he says
Дырка. Здесь ровно 4 дырки.
dyrka, which is hole, he points, hole, dyrka. Like, you're like, ah, yes, dyrka means hole. Now he says cat, or
Кот.
which means cat, and then you see a cat and you're like, ah, yes, kot is cat. At some point he says
Разве наши слоны уже летают?
летают, and he does this. He's like, ah, yes, летают means flying. The second reason why I think it's quite nice for learning is because it's very repetitive. So throughout the series, they have this like ongoing phrase.
Ничего не понимаю.
Ничего не понимаю. Ничего не понимаю. Ничего не понимаю.
Which means I don't understand, like I don't get it, what's happening. And because there's a bunch of chaos that's happening around them, and they constantly have this phrase going over and over again. And you're like associated with this kind of puzzled look that they have. Another time when they're trying to figure out why they got holes in their ceiling, the Watson-y character is like, chef, ну что? Like, chef, what is it? And the Sherlock Holmes character responds with ничего, which means nothing. He's like,
Шеф, ну что? Ничего.
and then it goes again.
Шеф, ну что? Ничего.
And then it goes again.
Шеф, ну что?
And you kind of get like what's happening. One's asking what's wrong, and the other one's saying, oh, nothing. And then he says vody, and the Watson-y character brings water, and he's like, ah, yes, here, water. Vody, water, makes sense.
Шеф, ну что? Воды. Что? Воды.
The third reason why I think it's good for language learning is because it's interesting. It's fun to watch. Like, it's very non-standard in terms of animation. It's quite surrealist. Even the opening sequence I just showed you in the beginning, like, you can get the gist that that's kind of an obscure-looking animation, which is why it never gets old, it never gets boring. There are a few times where you get shocked, you get surprised. When with the giraffe with its spots falling off, with the guy opening up a drawer and checking the time with like a sundial. Yeah, generally it's aimed for all people, all ages. Adults can enjoy it as well. Teens, kids will be like, what is happening? But kind of take it in as reality. Adults will be like, ah, this is an interesting way of like thinking about this. It's just fun. It's interesting. Yeah. So, and the things that you're interested in, you generally you don't get bored of them, you like to focus in, and you'll learn the language along with it. Appreciate it more. And the fourth reason why is that there's quite a bit of simple-ish text throughout. Some of it is in cursive. That one I'm disregarding. I'm more so looking at like печатные буквы, which is non-cursive, just standard text. An example is when he's making spaghetti and you can see macaroni, or macaroni written, and it takes up the entire screen. You're like, you have to read macaroni, and he breaks the macaroni and he prepares them. Another time is when one of them is reading slon, редкий, полосатый, and it's like written on a billboard. And yeah, he's reading, you're like, slon, редкий, полосатый, I can read it now. Because Cyrillic is quite different from Latin-based languages, so like to practice for reading as well. So yeah. Please watch Следствие, ведут Колобки, or an investigation held by Kolobki, because it's quite fun, and it's free on YouTube, so feel free. Sometimes it goes very complex, but those times that it goes very complex, you can kind of fully disregard it. It's focus on the simple things and you'll get the general gist of everything, because visually everything is explained. There's a lot of random sounds, like not even words. There's just sound, like you don't have to understand everything. Just kind of appreciate it.